Previously on the Shannon's Dream bike build. That's the engine build all wrapped up. Here's what we got coming up next. Fabrication work done for the Shannon's Dream bike build is an absolutely imperative piece of this project. G'day YouTube, welcome back into the Purpose Built Moto Garage for episode 3 of the Shannon's Dream bike build. This episode we're going to be covering a heap of ground to do with the fabrication on our CB550 project. We've already started with a little bit on the front end, doing the front brake with Donnie last episode. Now we're going to switch to the rear end and get the Cafe Racer tail hoop put in and the integrated lighting. Now we're not going to have nearly enough time to run you through all the fabrication on a project like this because it's so massive. But what we are going to do is take you through some key parts on the bike that'll be real standout pieces. First, we're going to get Donnie to run you through the tail fab, and then I'm going to take over and take you through the exhaust build, which is a really key component of this bike on a concept that I've been wanting to do for a little while now. The last piece of the puzzle in this episode will be the front fender fabrication. We make kits for these and a lot of guys choose to do it at home, so I'll run you through a bit of fabrication tips and stuff so you can potentially do one of those yourself on your own bike. First off though, you can get in the Fab Lab with Donnie. I'm going to keep on working on this other CB550 project. I've got a little bit of sheet metal work to do, so I'll see you in a little while.
We're back in the Fab Lab with the CB, just pushing through, sort of cleaning up a few things, getting it ready so we know where we're at with it. Being clearing all this out, de-tagging it, cleaning it all up, just making it look a bit better for the next step. I've also made these spigots on the lathe here. We got rid of the original tail section, got rid of all that, and we've made these spigots up on here. This is going to be for the new tail hoop, which we're just about to bend up, and then after that's done we can get that fitted up and then continue with the rear tail light, see how all that works. Building Cafe Racer tail hoop is one of the most common mods we do on all our bikes here. It's pretty simple to do, but you got to get it right, and it's a great platform to build everything else off. So we usually do that first. Just got the chromoly tail hoop section bent, so now I'm just fitting it up to the spigots we originally made on the lathe. They're for strength, obviously. So usually with this process, it's just fitting it and making sure it's all working. So that's all in there nice now. And there's a good amount of gap there for when you're welding, like a nice prep for when you're welding to fill that up with weld, make it real strong. The design of this CB550 tail had to accommodate a passenger and also look good with a removable Cafe Racer tail. This next step is Frenching in a rear tail light. It's one that a lot of people do, but not a lot of people do it right. First step to recess your rear brake light is bending your tube, and that'll make for the rear housing of your light. And then after that, the next step is cutting out the slot in your tail hoop and then welding in the housing. Once it's fully welded and finished back, then we can go on and mark out the rear window for the tail light. So when we're foaming seats, we usually wait till we got a few lined up, then we can get in the fab lab. It's really messy work, so we like to get in there, lock in there, and get them all shaped. Just got done here, shaping up the CB550 seat. We've got 2 layers of foam on there. That's just a rough in, and then we can do the final adjustments later.
So now we've got the tail on the frame wrapped up. We've sort of dummied our bike up because a lot of our stuff is out for polishing chrome. So the wheels and forks have been taken off. These are a spare set that we've got out of a dummy bike that we have. So I'm going to now put the engine in place so we can keep this build moving. I'm going to fabricate the exhaust while our other parts are coming together. Because Honda was looking after us in the 70s, you can't get a motor into this frame without taking the sump and the oil filter off, which makes it fun every time you get to take the motor in and out. So the design that we're going to be going with on this CB550 is a 4x2 setup. We're going to be utilising some really nice compound curves out of the motor to create a really nice sweeping feel underneath the bike. This isn't a really common setup on these 4-cylinder bikes. A lot of guys will go 4x1, but for the look that we're going for, and I'm hoping that it gives it a bit more of a gurgling sound, the 4x2 I think is going to work really well. So I've got this handy little belt sander that we just use when we're building exhaust. Stainless, you got to get those joins super nice. So this helps once you've done a hand-done grinder cut, you can just put it on this nice flat surface, get your joins nice and flat so you don't have any gaps when you're welding it up. Single piece design of each side of this exhaust system means we have to fabricate it a little bit differently. Instead of mocking up the entire system and then welding it, we've got to fabricate and finish each individual header before joining them together. This means it's time to fire up the SWS welder and get our purge welding setup ready. had this exhaust design stuck in my head for a long time now, so it's really good to see it now polished up and hanging off the bike. It's taken a long time to get to this point, but there's a few key pieces on each of our projects where you throw time to the wind and make sure that you get the design right. Moving on to the front fender is another really key piece to most of our bikes, and this one's no different. Oftentimes it'll be the first thing you notice when you're approaching a motorcycle, so I want to make sure we nail it. The beauty of the DIY kit is it's a choose your own adventure sort of thing. So we've got our dummy front end on here, the stuff that's getting polished and relaced and all that sort of thing is taking a little bit longer than we expected, which is pretty standard nowadays. So I've got our dummy front end. The wheel that we're going to be using is a little bit smaller, so I'm going to mount the fender hard onto the tyre here. And then once we've got our 18-inch wheels on the front, it'll all be gapped pretty perfectly. I've done the measurements just before. First up, prepping our fabrication bungs and the fork mount plates. These get drilled out to suit the forks that they're going on. Then we'll mark and tap our fender for our M6 mounting bolts. We'll place the fender on the wheel, mock up the bar work and get it ready to shape. Once the mock-up and design's decided on, we'll shape our stainless steel bar work and tack them into place with the fender sitting over the wheel. Once the design's finished and everything's tacked up, strong enough to remove without it warping, we'll take it off, finish welding it on the bench, and then finish everything back, ready to be put back on. Get all my grubby finger marks on it, now fit it up to the bike. Fender done. Now that we've run you through the major fabrication jobs for the Shannon's Dream bike build, there's a lot that we could squeeze into this 15 minutes. Still to go, we've got making the rear set brackets, hanging the new pegs, and then making the linkages so everything talks to each other. We've got to fabricate the hidden electrics tray and battery box that goes underneath the swing arm. We've got a custom top triple clamp going on and some clip-on handlebars. Then I've got to make the headlight brackets and gauge cluster to go neatly on the front. We're modifying the Kickstarter to make sure it clears the rear set pegs, and then we'll fabricate a tail cowl to go over the Brat style seat that we've made.
So we finished up all the fab work on the CB550. We're just going to finish it all up, pull it down and get it all ready for paint.
Yeah, watching the fab work on this bike has been really good, seeing it all come together. Now you guys have a really good idea of the direction that this bike's going. Next step, we're going to get Nathan from Live and Loco involved to deliver the paint job for the Shannon's Dream bike build. That's it for the episode. Make sure you guys like and subscribe and keep up with us on the next one. Next episode on the Shannon's Dream bike build.
So all the paint jobs I do here is all custom mixed paint. Nothing's colour coded. Makes it a bit harder for people to reproduce my work. The colour I ended up deciding to go with the pinstripe. Tom hasn't really seen it yet, so let's hope he likes it when he does.